Nope, it is not. Oh, there we
now it's
go. There we go. Now we're live.
we had a suspenseful start. It didn't say we were live.
Excuse us. We've never done this before.
It's our first time.
Oh my God. We're such rookies.
Hello and welcome back to another Tuesday night chat with the Muskrat and Mr. Creole Catfishing. How's it going, my brother?
What is happening, my man? We got exciting stuff been happening. We've got tournaments that are finishing up. We've got tournaments that are starting. There's activity all over the place.
It has been a crazy weekend of
Yes.
fishing activity and fun. With the ladies' call-outs going all through the weekend, and the amount of money they raised for the American Cancer Society has been just amazing and blown away.
Yes.
With Stan and Bex running the show on Sunday, I believe. There was, I don't want to start naming names because I'll miss somebody and hurt their feelings, but there was a lot of people that stepped up and donated things to help push that money, the giveaways. And I think last I saw anyway was $2,430. And I remember talking to Tanya making a comment that she said, I thought I was going to be pushing it to ask, try to get to 500.
Yeah.
And here we are at 2,430. It may be more. I'm sure somebody will update me throughout the show, but crazy what the community will do for each other and help each other out. And it was a lot of fun, really exciting. I was out fishing during the event. I was out fishing all weekend actually, and so I got to listen to part of it. But we say hello to some folks while everybody grabs a seat and comes on in.
Absolutely.
I see Sampy in the house at 10:30 this morning. He was making sure that he got his seat. He will not be beat. Welcome. Thanks for stopping in. And Uptown Chrissy Brown in the house as well, channel member. Thank you for supporting the show. Jimmy James Bailey catfishing, local guy here. Pontoon Jody, what's going on? The Pretty Bunch, no BS catfishing. There's Queen Catfishing Tanya herself in the house. Another channel member. Thanks for supporting our vision over here. Eric Smurf, catfishing, won the challenge versus Jody without my help. He said, I'm going to do it on my own or I'm not going to do it. And so hats off for pulling out the win and having the guts and believing in yourself. We say all the time that confidence is one of the biggest things when it comes to fishing. And he had confidence that he was going to make it or break it, but he was going to do it on his own. So hats off to you. Two Stands is in the house. What's going on, my brother? Big Wrench Catfishing. What's up, buddy? Let's see. Oh, Southland Fishing. Hello. Thanks for stopping in. Crappie Day Fish On. Palmetto Cats is in the house. What's up, Kevin?
Oh, bro.
Harold Bolton, another channel member, saying hello to everybody. Thanks for stopping in, buddy. Appreciate you being here.
2439
is where the donations stand for the ladies tournament. All right. Thank you, Rhonda. Appreciate that. Super. How many fish did you get Saturday night? What did we get? We only got two.
Miss Becca, the hostess with the mostest. What's going on, Miss Becca?
She was in there working her tail off behind the scenes. Stan and Bex did a fantastic job, but Becca was Becker, just working magic behind the scenes. It takes a village. Buckeye Catfish is in the house. What's up, Jim? Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you guys being here. I'll try to get on down there. Dave Funk's in the house. Mr. Hoover himself. What's up, brother? I need to get with you, Dave. We need to get the boat out there and go pull some boards or something. Man, I haven't been on the Hoover for like 6 months. Rodwise, what's going on? Thanks for stopping in. Well, as you guys seen in the thumbnail tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about Skipjack. All right. So depends on what part of the country you're in. They've been running, they're still running, or they're about to run. Here on our part of the river, they came in kind of early in April, but then the weather conditions and water levels have pushed them off, and they really haven't been in there thick. So, like, Eddie, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for stopping in. And so we're looking to get back on them. But see, just because the spring flaying isn't happening, maybe in your area, the skipjack can still be caught most year round, depending on, you have to change your strategy and change your tactics, but
Yep.
they're still out there. They don't just disappear. Skipjack Cindy, we should have had Cindy on the show. That would have been,
because it's in the name.
It is.
It's like in the name. So
I kind of feel odd now talking about catching skipjack when I know that she's probably better at it than I am.
Yeah, no kidding. Huh?
She could teach me.
Feel free to correct us in chat. Trust me.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Suggestions and comments are welcome. So we as always, we try to preach it. We try to share our tactics and techniques that have worked for us along the way, things we picked up from other people, and hopefully it can put something in your box that may help you one day, and it may not.
Mm-hmm.
See River at 3030. Hello. Thanks for stopping in. But if you don't mind me taking 2 seconds out of the show here, I want to give 2 seconds over to, and I'm going to do this probably twice if we get more eyeballs on the show.
Sure.
But we've got an event coming up for disabled veterans. Now, I would remind you guys that in the past I have done daggone, how in the world could I? Fishing for Freedom out in Quincy, Illinois, right?
Yes.
Fishing for Freedom, not taking anything away from them. They are a top-notch organization that goes above and beyond, and what they do out there is phenomenal. It's a life-changing experience for lots of folks, and even participating in it and being a boater in it and taking a veteran out, it is a very humbling and gratifying experience. Unfortunately, it's pretty far. It's a long way to drag my boat. Yeah. And even though they do pay for the hotel and part of the food, just gas alone, dragging a boat out there and home is quite the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I've kind of fallen in love with this group here local, which is what I've got here in front of you. This is this Disabled Veterans Outdoors. And this happens right here in Ohio. And it's up on Sandusky Bay. And so what's going on is we've got 60 veterans signed up to head out on the weekend of June. Oh shoot, let me see the date. I think it's June 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, June 3rd. June 3rd is the date on this, and we've got 60 veterans. We've only got 35 or 40 boats so far signed up for this event. And Billy Hondo, what's going on? Disabled Veterans Outdoors, another top-notch organization. There's a lot of good stuff that goes on here. Basically, it's a one-day tournament. You take a disabled veteran out with you on the boat, and you go out there and you catch as many of them daggone Sandusky Bay channel catch as you can. I could tell you that we went last year and took a fella out. Actually, I've been twice now. We took the fella we took out last year. I about wore myself completely out. Wore out. Really? And the guy, by the end of it, our veteran was like, "You guys can reel in a fish." We're like, "No, we want you to reel in all of them." And he's like, "Man, come on, you guys, you can reel in a couple." And I was like, but it is the most rewarding day you can have fishing. I'm not sure who it is on Facebook, but you are absolutely right. Taking these guys out. In a way, you feel guilty or you feel selfish because you end up feeling so good. You're supposed to be doing it all for them, but man, you have such a good time. And if you're doing it for the right reason, man, it's so gratifying to take these veterans out. So if you're interested, please shoot me a message. I'm not the one in charge of this. Joe Owens, John Campbell, I know Tyra. Tyra Williams also with Dirty South. They're playing a big part of this as well. And there's a long list of people that you can get talk to get in with this. Yes. But just want to throw that out there. If anybody thinks for 1 second that they might be able to get up to Sandusky Bay on June 3rd and not only have time of your life catching these monster channel cats out of Sandusky Bay, but to take a disabled veteran out and and give them just an outstanding epic day, just please reach out. We need a few more boats. I'm going up with Zach, but if things don't change, I may separate and drag my boat up as well. So it's a lot. Depends on your veteran. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Our veteran last year, he didn't have any experience throwing a bait caster. And of course, that's all we had. We had all bait casters on the boat. So I was winging every rod, and he was reeling them in as fast as I can throw them back out. And I was like, hey, can we just go down to 2 rods or something? I was like a circus midget running around the back of that boat.
That's not a bad problem to have, keep in mind.
No, yeah.
Not a bad problem to have at
all.
We
was all having the time of our life. I mean, it was hilarious. I don't remember how many fish we caught. It was quite a few. But just throwing that out there. We need a couple more boaters. I know not everybody's local in here, and that's A-OK.
Yeah.
There's also, donations. I'm sure they could use money as well, but I'm not trying to pick your pockets. We just need a boat or two if anybody's available. So rewind, get back on track. There's Brian B. Yo, what's up, buddy?
Happening.
Robert, we'll talk about it and we'll see. We'll see what's going on. I love that you're thinking about it. Mark and Roger went up there and got tired. Somebody got tired.
Yeah.
My partner he fell asleep halfway through the show because I was running the whole damn thing. Well, that's another show.
Yeah, that's a whole other show.
Skipjack fishing. Jeremy, what is your preferred method catching skipjack?
My normal method, I know we catch a lot on homemade sabikis with the little shiny hiney jigs. In fact, I have some behind me right here. Give me a second. I gotta dig them out of my box here.
Hell, Jack. Thank you, brother. We try.
There we go.
We can all do more, but every little bit helps.
But that is my go-to. That is my go-to jig right there. White shiny hiney, silver body. These are the 16th ounce. These catch me more every year than everything else combined. There you go.
These are hand tied from somebody down in Alabama.
Nice. But these catch me a lot. We'll tie, depending on what rod I'm using, I'll tie anywhere from 2 to 5 on a homemade sabiki with some fluorocarbon. And I'll always tie something heavier down on the end. I like those big spoons. I never catch anything on the spoons, but they're heavy, lets me cast them a long way, and they catch current. It picks my rigs up in that current to the top of the water where it needs to be, and that's where I get all my bites.
No BS is asking, what weights do you use?
On my sabiki rigs or just in general?
I'm good for right now. I would assume the sabiki rig.
Yeah. On my sabiki rig, actually, I'm usually throwing a 1/4 ounce spoon on the end of my sabiki rigs. And then for my jigs themselves, they're 16th ounce. But I love that 1/4 ounce spoon on the end of my rig because when you cast it, it throws perfectly straight because the heaviest is on the end.
Yeah. Yeah. You always, so right here, I've got the same thing. I've got a 16th ounce there, a 16th ounce there, and then a 1/4 ounce on the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah. Something heavier on the bottom.
So when you cast, it keeps that bottom one out farther. It keeps everything nice and straight when it hits the water. So I do the same thing. That's kind of how I tie my rig. And if you're wondering, how do you get that? Like, how do you get that dropper off of there,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you catfishing for any length of period of time, you're already tying Kentucky rigs, right? So the way I tie mine is I tie a Kentucky rig right here. And instead of there being a loop there to put the hook on, I actually, if you can see right there, my tag end is kind of short. I cut the line, and that leaves me one long string, and I tie my rig to that. So it's a Kentucky rig that I just cut one side of the tag end, and it makes me a loop.
I like it.
That's the way that I have found works best for me.
Yep.
You know, I got sabiki rigs here, And I got to looking at their rigs, and guess what? Guess what they are?
Oh, look at that.
That's a bot Sabinki rig that I've got all tangled up right here.
Yeah, I like it. I like
But,
it. Now for those, I see some questions in chat about like finding shiny hinds and stuff at Walmart. The shiny hiney is made by Arky
Yep.
Lures. You can actually go to their website and you can buy these in bulk. I actually have some on back order right now, believe it or not. This is the standard shiny hiney here with the regular hook. But if you order the Pro hiney, that has the sickle hook in it, for those that rather a sickle hook than the standard hooks.
So that's what this is here. This is the sickle hook.
Yeah.
But this is the tiny hiney. A little bit smaller in profile. That's a 32nd ounce jig head. I prefer the 16th ounce, but
yep,
they'll still get the job done.
And Dad actually brings up a good point here, and we've done this too. Actually, we've actually used what they call it, a Kirby rig, but a weighted cork, weighted float on the end of that sabiki, and it guarantees that it'll float on top of the water column.
So that's a trick that we use a lot on finicky fish. So this is a popping cork. It is weighted on one end. They cast like a dream. But what we will do is we will attach either our sabiki rig here to the end of this, and then allow this to trail in the water column behind it. And without any weight, it will just lay on top of the water and do stuff like that, and they will just smash it. We've also used these to keep, like, if the bait staying on top of the water. I like to. My favorite go-to is a Foley spoon.
Yeah.
An 1 inch and 5/8 Foley spoon, or 1 inch and 3/8. I hardly ever run the 2-inch. Foley spoon is my go-to. And there is no right color. This is an emerald green that I've been using this year, and I've just been, my success rate on this spoon this year so far has been outstanding. But I find it very important to keep all the different colors and sizes in stock, because they are extremely finicky. They're extremely finicky. You'll be on them with a color, and the guy next to you will have a different color, and he'll be tearing them up, and you'll be like, what in the world?
Yeah, in my experience, I find if you throw the exact same color, whatever, jig, sabiki, rig, spoon, you throw them the exact same color for too long, the bite slows down. Sometimes you got to just switch, throw them something different, and you'll end up catching a few. And then when that bite slows down, switch back to what you were throwing before. When they're real finicky, that has worked for me many, many, many times. It's like they get, I know it sounds ridiculous, but they get tired of seeing the same color all the time, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not sure what it is, but I've seen the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I keep pink, white, green, silver, purple. I keep them all, chartreuse, in the box. And you'd be surprised what just changing the color will do. My go-to favorite's usually pink. Pink has always been
nice
my go-to. You gotta be willing to try it out. The other thing is the way I tie mine, and I can kind of go through and show you here in a second. But I'll bring my main line down, and I use trolling sinkers. All right, so this here is a trolling sinker. It has a swivel on the top. As you can tell, it has a swivel on the bottom of the clip. And then what I do is I like to tie about 24 to 30 inches leader off the back of my sinker for my Foley spoon. All right. And you got to play with the depth. So, that's a 1/2 ounce, and I've got all the way up to 1.5 ounce.
Wow.
In the box, because sometimes they're running deep, and you gotta change it up.
Yep. They're not always on the surface of the water. That's sometimes the mistake people make. When they're feeding heavy, usually they're on the surface, but a cold snap, a cloudy day, something like that, it will put them a little down deeper. So don't be afraid to fish a little deeper.
I'll tell you this, and this is my own. I got my own story and reason for it, but in my opinion, you don't ever want to use these snaps when it comes to these. A lot of guys will like to use the snaps because they can change their colors out quicker. But I can tell you that it does change the action of the spoon, and you want to just tie your rig directly on.
Yeah.
So what I do is I'll tie my rig directly on, and the other end of my line, I will have I'll just go ahead and make one right here, but I'll just tie a loop at the other end of my line. And now instead of changing my colors there, I'll change my colors here. Right? So I'll have a leader line here with my spoon on the end, and I'll just change it out here. I can tell you from experience that, Zach and I were fishing, and most of the time, there's Zach.
What's up, there he is.
I'm getting ready to tell our story. He probably knew it was coming after this. Saw me talking about that. But we were standing next to each other, throwing side by side, and then I was catching like every cast, and he's like, "What in the world? I'm using the exact same thing you are." And the only difference was he had a clip at the end of his line, and it changed the action of the Foley spoon. And he immediately took it off and cut it straight in. And very first cast, he was right in it, on the money. Yep. It was just both of us just nonstop on fire. So
the tiniest little things do make a difference. They do make a world of difference, especially when they're finicky.
How do you guys fare with the different size Foley spoon hooks to get a better skip hookup? Now the size of the spoons change with the size of the hook. So the smaller the spoon, the smaller the hook. So right here I've got two different sizes, and you've got two different size hooks. I don't know if you can even see that in there, but
yeah, we can see it. There you go.
Myself, I don't see a big advantage or disadvantage to. Because I like to go middle of the road. There's an inch and 3/8, inch and 5/8, and 2-inch. I stay inch and 5/8 most of the time. I find that it's really good. Every now and then, I'll go down to an inch and 3/8 if like it's late in the fall when there's 12, 13-inch skipjack are up there running, and you don't want to throw inch and 5/8 or 2-inch spoons at them. You're going to get them smaller ones. So. As far as that, you basically got, as far as I know, I could be completely wrong, but as far as I know, there's like 3 sizes. That's the 3 there. Zach says start small and then work your way up until they stop biting, which is a great tip. See what works. It's kind of like when we're dragging, we want to start as fast as we can and then slow down until we start getting bit. We like to go as fast as they'll allow us to go to cover more water. Until you stop getting bit, and then you're going too fast. Yeah,
and you see a method that has caught us so many, and a lot of big ones too, is basically by using Roger's swing rod method, but with our sabiki rigs. What we'll do, a lot of times I'm spot locked a little bit towards the bank, and the current seam is out towards the middle just a little bit, then fast the water. And I love to use these 9-foot ugly stick GX2 rods. I use a long rod, a little bit bigger spinning reel. That way I can make a long cast if I need to. And it lets me run a longer sabiki rig. I throw it out in the heavy current. I'll hurry up, let some line out. Then I'll lock my reel and pick that tall rod way up. And immediately when that line gets tension, this big spoon that I run on the end of my sabiki rig, if I do this without hooking myself, this big 1/4-ounce spoon that I run, it catches all that current and it lifts my rig right to the top. Then under tension, it starts swinging. And as it swings towards the back of my boat, I'm using that long rod to lean it and control it. and I'll actually hold it right in that current seam. And that's usually when they'll hit it. It's right when that rig swings into that current seam. They'll nail it every time.
Yeah, there's a lot of different techniques. You know, one of the things we do is like when we get up close to a dam and they got a big boil right there. You know, we'll throw pretty much right in it and keep tension on line, and that thing will just flutter. And it's not really doing anything, and they'll just see that flash. Yep. And that's enough, and they'll attack it. It doesn't always have to be under retrieve or under pressure.
Yeah.
You know, Zach and I are talking the entire time, right? He gets hooked up a couple times. I'll ask him, how fast are you retrieving? Or, you know, are you slowing it down? Are you speeding it up? And vice versa. If I'm picking them up, you know, we're always talking back and forth about, you know, the speed. It's crazy how funny they can be because, you know, the speed of the color, the depth, it's like a chess match, and you got to try to get it all right to get them caught.
And I know something that we do, which is something I learned from a video. Actually, it was Steve Douglas that put out the video years ago. But again, it's why I use these long rods. I may throw 1 or 2 sabiki rigs out the back at different lengths. Then I'll put them in the rod holder, and just in the current sitting there holding them up in the water column. I'll leave them there. I'll leave them right there on the back of the boat, and then we're casting around the boat. Then all of a sudden, wow, one of the rods will go down. Like, okay, I know where they are. So we if they're within casting distance, we'll keep the boat where it is. If they're way, way, way far back, we may creep back on the boat a little bit, but you don't want to get too close to them. And like I was taught long ago, when I go up to the dam to catch them, I turn my sonar off. I turn all of that off because when they're finicky, I do find it does make a difference. They'll come in closer to the boat whenever you have the sonar off. It won't run them off completely, but it'll keep them at a long cast from the boat.
Well, I can tell you that one of our first trips down to Wheeler Dam, if you guys remember John Knoll, you put a lot of bait fishing videos out, and he was commercial bait. There he is, regular dude.
Regular dude. Yeah, he's the one I learned that cork thing from on the end of a sabiki rig.
Well,
he's where I learned that from.
I could tell you that Zach and I went out, and the regular dude was out there fishing, and the first thing he said, you guys can come up here right next to me. Only thing is you need to turn your graph off. Yep. Turn your fish finder off if you're going to get close to me. And those commercial guys believe in that is, you turn that graph. Now, have we caught fish with the graph on? Yeah. But like Jeremy says, sometimes when they're finicky, that little touch might be the difference. Roger coming down to Jeffersonville this weekend. I'm not sure what I'm missing in Jeffersonville.
When they're really active, when they're just boiling on the surface feeding, it honestly, sometimes it don't matter what you throw at them. They're going to hit it. But little tricks like this help when they're finicky and they're hard to find. Look, the whole thing with using fluorocarbon to tie your sabikis instead of regular mono, sometimes that makes the difference in catching some or not.
There you go. And there's the comment from Danny Stone. Let's talk about line. 2 guys, we'll call them Smarker and Smuck. Were on each side of me killing it. The bite was slow for me. They were using fluorocarbon, and I had mono.
Yep.
Yeah, I use mono. I do have some fluorocarbon. I have not switched over and started tying any fluorocarbon lines or leaders. I actually picked it up for crappie, to be honest with you.
Yep.
But I run braid, 20-pound test braid main line.
Yep, that's what I run.
And then I run 20-pound, 20 to 30-pound mono leader, depending on what I've got. Usually 20-pound.
Yep, I'll run that 20-pound fluoro, and I've even gotten so picky, and I can't reach it from where I'm sitting right now. But my barrel swivel that I'll tie from my main line to my leader, I only use black swivels. I will not use the gold ones. I will not use the silver ones, because even something like that will make a slight difference. I've even seen when they're real active and you use a silver swivel, they'll strike at that swivel. But I don't want that. So I use a black one, and they won't either they'll strike at it or they won't hit the rig completely because of that color.
I'm not sure what this even is, so I can't tell you. I have not noticed the difference because I don't know what a Sabuku fly rig is compared to a sabiki jig.
He's probably talking about, he may have misspelled it, but he's probably talking about these like, I'm gonna turn my light off that way it doesn't reflect off of it. He's probably talking about these pre-tied sabiki, these pre-tied
Okay.
sabiki rigs with the flies on them compared to tying a sabiki with actual jigs. I'm assuming that's what he's talking about.
Right. The difference is weight in that.
Yeah.
Now your end of your sabiki rig, comes with a clip that you snap on a weight.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end here will be, whatever size weight you're trying to throw, depending on what your distance and depth is you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
I keep sinkers, little bell sinkers. I'll sometimes throw, on my trolling rigs because they're a little more aerodynamic and they don't get snagged as much. Like I said, I keep a selection of them handy.
I know for me, usually the actual little shiny honey jigs will outperform these sabiki rigs 9 out of 10 times. I do buy these big ones, that have the number 5 hooks. These flies are, they're probably 2.5 inches long. They're pretty big. I find the only time where I'll catch more on the sabikis than the jigs is when they're running small. They're running, 12, 14 inches, something like that. Yeah. I tend to catch more on the actual flies than the jigs, simply because I guess it's a smaller profile bait for them. But usually the jigs do better for me. Usually.
Yep. And you can do more, like you have more control, more action with them. Straight retrieve on the jigs. It's a funny thing, kind of like we talked about earlier, slow retrieve, fast retrieve. One of the things that we do when we're throwing the pre-tied sabinki rigs or the ones we tie ourselves, we call it the herky jerky.
Yeah.
And, on the retrieve, you just start popping it and giving it a real erratic action. So you'd be a steady retrieve, then a stop and a pop, 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 and retrieve and pop, retrieve, pop, pop, pop. And you just continue to work those different patterns until you find something that works.
Yep. When you finally catch one, honestly, it's a lot like satellite vision. When you finally do catch one, you have to remember every little thing you were doing the exact moment you caught them. And if you can repeat that every time, then you'll get on them. But I will say this. I know it maybe in my area, they must run in smaller schools. I don't get these massive, 100-foot diameter schools like what some people do. They move a lot and they move very fast. That school will move 50 feet between casts. They're constantly moving up, down, left, right. They're constantly following that little bait ball in that current seam. But if you pay attention to where you were in the current seam when you hooked one, especially at a dam, that current seam swings in and out a lot. You'll be able to see that piece of the current seam and throw to it, and you should always be able to get on them pretty close.
Yeah, I seen a comment there about the swim baits. I keep swim baits, popping corks. I just showed those. I use the popping corks. I don't think you don't use popping corks, do you?
I do. But what I do, because the current is so strong, I turn them backwards. I turn them backwards so the cup is facing out. That way it doesn't catch all that water. Yeah.
I got you.
Yep. I turn them backwards.
Yep.
Because they'll catch so much water. Those medium action GX2s I have, they'll bend in things over like a fish is on them.
And that's another thing, talking about the action of the rod, the 8-foot rods and 7-foot rods, even a certain 6.5-foot rods will do the trick, but I like a 7.5-foot rod for skipjack.
Yep.
I'm using a Boo Vengeance is my primary skipjack rod. I love that rod. Something about using an expensive bass rod to catch bait for catfish just makes me feel good. What's up, buddy? Size matters. Right. What's going on?
I mean, my main rod that I have right here, like I said, I absolutely love them. It's these 9-foot GX2s, and I have one reel is a Penn Raff, and the other one is a Piss of Fun Honor 5,000 size. It's a pretty big spinning reel, but for me, it's for the line capacity.
Right.
I may have that rig 100 yards out the back of my boat, floating there in the current, sitting there in the rod holder.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing that we do a lot of is especially when the bite is slow.
Yeah.
We'll have a Foley spoon or a jig type rod, and then we'll have another rig out the back with the proper fork on it, and it'll just be out there in the current just doing its thing. And you pick up the boat with one bonus fish off of these rigs that are just floating in back behind the boat. And, your rod doubles over, you reel down on it, and you got an extra fish.
Yeah, that's my big boy right there.
Whoo-wee.
I said it's a big reel. It's a little bit of a heavy combo, but let me tell you, I catch a lot of fish on this thing. I can double, triple up on them, and I can handle them in that fast current.
Well, and that's the thing is when you are throwing Sabinki rigs or the hand tied, you could catch 2 to 3 2-pounders at the same time. Yeah. And last thing you want to do is be underprepared to get it in. I had this pulled up for you guys. Jeremy saw it, but I had all these windows and stuff pulled up for you guys, and my computer crashed like 4 minutes before the show started. So I lost all my windows.
You gotta love it.
But one of my favorite rods is actually at Academy. Let me see if I can get it back up here. Academy Sports, and it's a cheap rod that Doc Lang uses. He took me to Academy Sports, and he's like, "Look, you can spend all the money you want on these rods, but let me show you the rod that I use and can handle these fish." And it's like $15.
Is that the Doc Lang rod? We'll call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if I can. See if I can pull it up real quick while we got it on. I've sent the link to a few folks. I know that.
I don't know, Kevin. And I know for me, as far as weather conditions go, I catch more on a nice, bright, sunny day than anything else because in my experience, and maybe it's me in that muddy water that I fish in, but when the sun's out, I think the bait fish come right to the top, and they come to the top as well. On a real cloudy day, it's very, very tough for me. I hardly ever do well, even trying to go deep. But on those especially when it's cloudy and then the sun comes out, get ready. That's usually when we do good.
This is it right here. This is an Academy Sports H2. It went up. It's now $16.99 instead of $14.99. But an H2O Express medium heavy bait rod. I mean, this is exactly what it's designed for. This thing, I'm telling you, is a beast of a bait rod. It's pretty stout. It will handle some skipjack, and it's still got a fast tip on it. It's pretty sensitive. So,
hey, if it works,
Zach says he's jumping in the shower covered in Shawnee Marina mud, and it smells bad. Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, at least there was some bait down in there today. So I'll holler at you. Oop.
Quick. Lead up. Miss Tyra, what's going on?
She must have heard her name. Her ears are burning. We was talking about her just a little bit ago. We was we had your name thrown out there. We was trying to rally to get a couple more boats up to Sandusky Bay for the Disabled Veterans event. So but anyway, yeah, that's a good rod option if you have an academy near you. We don't have an academy in Ohio, but when I get out of town, I do like to pick those up.
And being she's in here, being Miss Tyra's in here, I can show off a little bit. But I got a big old package in the mail from Miss Tyra for Dirty South Dragon Weights. Guys, y'all check this stuff out, okay? Dirty South, who does not love I'm not going to call it what I call it, but a drink koozie, a beverage koozie. How about that? But got this stuff here. Awesome stickers in the mail. Got this awesome bait towel. I almost hate to use it. I'll be honest with you. But the best thing that was in the box.
They make more.
Was these right here. Creole catfishing is going dragging, people.
Oh no.
We are going dragon. We got dragon weights now. These are the 3 ounce, and I got me some 4 ounce. We are going to go dragon. I'm very, very excited. I'm very thankful for them to hooking me up and sending me some weights. We're going to put them to use, people. But big shout out to them. If y'all need some stuff from them, check them out. Dirty South Dragon Weights. They got some awesome stuff on their site.
They are pretty awesome. They do a lot for the community. They've done a lot for this channel, for giveaways and kids tournaments. Which, by the way, the dates are out there.
Yes.
Catfish for Kids tournament, June 10th and 11th. Don't forget, mark your calendars. Get signed up. June 10th and 11th.
It's only fitting that I actually live in the Dirty South. So, it's fitting, right? I mean, Dirty South Dragon Weights. I live there, so why not, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot what I was saying. But yeah, good folks, good people, good. It's a good product. I've been using their product for years and years and years. It's I think I used it back before they even owned the company. I was using those dragon weights. I've liked them that much ever since.
It's a shame. It's a shame to have them pretty Uncle Lou planer boards that I've got and not get them wet. You know what I mean? They ride around in the boat all the time. I think they're having withdrawals. I need to get them wet.
Yeah, they. I gotta get a request in Uncle Lou to get me a couple more made. I'm ready to get the dragon. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's another. That's one of the techniques that some guys use. You've talked about John Knoll, the regular dude catfishing. He's used planer boards off of the bank. Because the skipjack ran a seam that he could not keep his bait in, and he ran a planer board out to the seam and was catching them right off there. So there's all kinds of different. Let's see, do you have a link for their merch? Dirty South.
I live further south than you, Kevin. I live way further south than you. Nice try. I don't think ain't nobody lives further south than me.
He tried to squeeze in on that, ain't he?
He's trying, but it ain't happening.
22 awesome people in here.
22.
I don't know where maybe he's over on your side.
Yeah, he's on my side.
Oh, okay.
He's on my side.
I've shown 72.
Yeah, but that's total between the two.
But I forgot what I was saying. Well, anyway, since we was already there talking about it, I'll bring it up again now that we got 70 people in the house instead of 60 people or 40 people in the house. We're talking about the Disabled Veterans event coming up on June 3rd up at Sandusky Bay. If you've ever been interested in fishing Sandusky Bay, or you have experience on Sandusky Bay and you would love to spend a day, it's about the best day of fishing you can get. Head on up to the Sandusky Bay and take a disabled veteran out for the day. Thank you, Becca. Thank you, Brad Tidal Weights. I've seen he dropped the link as well. And hey, there's my buddy Trevor Long. I haven't talked to him forever.
Sean, what's going on, brother?
Sean T.
Sean T has actually firsthand witnessed the method we use of hanging in big rods out the back of the boat to catch slicker. He was with us one time, Dad and I, and he had a blast catching those things with us. It is fun.
I got it. Trevor says he's going to be up there on June 3rd, so it'd be great to see you again. Stan says he loves to use his Uncle Lou's boards from anchor position. This covers a wide path of water of the river. Zach and I did that just the other day. We was anchored up in some crazy stuff, kept getting swept right back behind the boat, put a planer board out there and sent it out to the side and let her sit.
Is it weird that I'm reading Kevin's comments in his voice that he uses to try to imitate me?
That's different.
Yeah, it's different. He does a decent impression of me. He's probably about the closest of anybody else I've heard attempted.
Yeah, well, I talk to you all the time, and I can't do you.
No, I'm unique, brother.
For some of the folks that are hanging out in chat, we do have I'm not sure. Once you close down the stream, can people still jump in backstage? as long as you don't end it completely?
As long as I don't hit in broadcast, yes.
Okay. We've got some folks. So there's still one more day left of the ladies call out challenge. There are a few challenges left to be held. Last Sunday, or not this past Sunday, the Sunday before, we had a day of fishing scheduled here on Muskrat Adventures channel.
Mm-hmm.
And due to the weather and safety of everybody involved, it got postponed. And so there's those folks are going to be jumping in after the show here tonight. Yep. And we're going to try to get that hashed out and get it rescheduled for you guys, and see what day works for them and the hosts, and see if we can't put a date together for you guys and get this action wrapped up and get these ladies call outs done. They have been a blast so far. And I tell you, I've had a blast watching the ladies work this. What has really been impressive to me is some of them have gotten pretty serious about it. You know, I mean, they didn't just blow it off as a, you know, ha ha, you're going to let me win. Like they all out, you know, you had, oh, that going it. Her name just slipped my tongue. Robin C. There we go. 400 creek chubs to give out the boat. I'll be there.
Nice.
I will be there for some creek chubs. I love some creek chubs up there. Holy moly. But Robin C., you know, traveled over and fished with Dustin and fished on the Potomac River, you know, and, you know, had a blast up there. And, you know, the ladies have just really made it a fun event. And for most of us, kicked our butts. I got my butt kicked.
Oh, Abbott, I actually don't use sinkers per se. I just put heavy spoons on the end of mine. That's what I use. Rarely do I actually use a actual lead weight of any kind. That's how I do it anyway.
Let's see here real quick. I've got one.
Okay, yeah. Brian is say we end the live and just stay backstage.
Okay,
got you. All right, got you, Brian. I swear we've never done this before.
Yeah, I'm just going to tie this real quick, just kind of show some folks. You know, this would be a typical setup for me on the. I don't normally use this line, but it show up well. Well, maybe I won't. Maybe I will.
Abbott, I'm using a quarter ounce spoon. A quarter ounce. Depending, I have a few. I have a quarter ounce and then some 3/8 ounce spoons. So depending on how fast the current is, depends on which one I'll use. But that's in a lot of current. I want that spoon to catch the current and pick my rig up. You know, keep it high in the water column.
You know, I don't know who makes Sabinky rig hooks, but if they make catfish hooks, I don't think we'd ever miss one.
Dude, they are like needles.
They're so sharp.
Yes, I have bled many a time because of a sabiki hook. Many times. I know the ones I've got here, these Ocean Cats, that's the ones that come from Academy.
Are they? Ocean Cat is one of the name brands I order online, Amazon.
There's a lot of people that said you can order them on Amazon. I know Dale's Tackle has the Ocean Cats, if I'm not mistaken. There's a lot of places you can get them from.
I don't generally run this heavy of a weight unless it's early season and the skipjack are deep, or for whatever other reason. Let me get this off. There you go. Thank you.
I got you.
My main line would come down to the top of this sinker here. All right. This is that trolling sinker.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I use that little loop knot on there. That's how I quickly change out rigs. And then I would run it down. It's just going to tangle and everything.
Oh,
I run it down to my Foley spoon down at the bottom. So Foley spoon, 24 to 30 inches of leader, and then my sinker.
Got you. If anybody happens to need some of those trolling sinkers, Todd Weights and Sinkers, y'all check him out. He can. He says he has ½ ounce and up.
There you go. My two favorite sizes is ½ ounce and 5/8. 5/8 is probably my go-to, but ½ ounce here lately has been pretty much the ticket.
Yeah.
This is 1.5 ounces. I only used it for display purposes. I do keep some in the box in case I need to get that deep. But to be honest with you, I've been known to just stack, because of the way these are rigged. I've been known to just stack 2 on top of each other, and that you could just hook them together.
Yeah, there you go.
That will get your weight down, whatever you need. So
there you go. And you don't have such a big diameter, such a big profile of weight.
Right. Yeah. So you can stack 2 1/2 ounces together to get your ounce, 1.5 ounces, or whatever you need. So
yep.
That would probably be my preferred way to do it, but I already bought all these.
And look, for everybody that does the hand tied jigs, there's your perfect opportunity to tie up whatever you need to go catch these things.
Yeah, hand tied jigs are
the limit.
Like I said, these shiny heinies that we all like to use. They got the tinsel in them. They got that. I'm telling you, that little piece of tinsel makes all the difference.
It does.
You'd be surprised what happens if that tinsel gets ripped off. Your bite will slow down. You
can see the gold in this one. You can see as I turn it in the light how it catches. I'm telling you, when the sun is out, anything shiny, glittery, it pays. It definitely pays.
Yeah. Now, as far as finding these skipjack, we talked about being up at the dams and being up close to the hydros and the rowdy stuff, but they're not always just there. If you've got current downriver, like right now, my river's still flooded. We're running 140,000 cubic foot a second right now, close to it. And anywhere that, like, if there's a barge sitting and the water hits the barge and it creates a seam, the fish will get in it. If there's a barge tie off, fish will get in it. If there's just a point that sticks out, fish will get in it. So anywhere where there is a seam of some sort, the fish will get in it. And even then, the skipjack, they don't just only stay out there. They'll get in the backs of creeks. They'll get in the backs of, especially early season when the water's just starting to warm up. You can go back there and throw these, like your crappie jigs and things like that out after them and tear them up. Now is the time of the year that they kind of flock and run to the dams. They start doing their spawning thing. And so the numbers are so good that, what's up, JG Hill? The numbers are so good that your odds are better at the dams because of the pure numbers and concentration there are there. But that is not the only place you have to go to catch them. So don't think that if you ain't got a hydro or you're not at a dam or they're so far away that you're not going to get any, because you still can. It's this time of year, though, your odds are better there.
Yep. See, Mr. John with the hookup, he's letting me know that they're running at the hydro, my bumping spot. He said they were in fact. Last time we were there, we managed to catch a few, but it was right after rain. The water was a little dirty, but man, we need to go get some bad.
Yep. And Harold Bolton brings up a great point there. Barge seams are also great for moon eye.
Yes.
And this is the time of the year that moon eye will start loading up. I know at our dam, some guys have already gotten into some moon eye on and off, kind of like the skipjack. The skipjack kind of came in and moved out. Hey, there's Justin's fishing fetish.
What's up,
Justin got to get on a boat with me on Saturday and put a bumping rod in his hand for the first time of his life.
Really?
And caught a fish. Then first 20 minutes, I knew Justin's just an avid fisherman, right? Yeah. Well, not avid fisherman, but he loves to fish. That boy will fish for anything, anywhere, anyhow. Even when you're trying to drop the boat or do something, he's still trying to fish. I'm like, dude, that guy likes to fish. So I knew teaching him to bump shouldn't be that hard. He gets it. And so we started out bumping. He kind of got the feel for it. We talked a little bit about what, letting the line out, what he could feel. He was good. And then his face just lit up. He said, Oh, I got a fish.
Caught him by surprise.
And he found out, we didn't even weigh the daggone thing. It was in the teens.
Yeah.
But a teener blue cat and 2.5 mile an hour current tries to rip the rod out your hand. He was pretty excited. He got hooked up again. The bite was very, very slow, but he did get hooked up again and lost one. They caught 95 Saturday.
Yep. 95 slicker at the hydro. I need something happens. I have off this weekend. I need to go. That's my mission.
Well, and the thing is, we seem to do better in sunny weather, but we've also tore them up in the rain. So it's not like there's a pure science to it.
Yeah.
But I feel I have a better, because the light penetration in the water, the reflecting off all the little shiny shimmering things, off of the rigs and the jigs that we're throwing. I feel I have a better success rate on a sunny day.
I do too.
Even 12 o'clock in the afternoon. It doesn't seem to bother me. I know a lot of people would say that the skipjack are hitting first thing in the morning or right before dark. And I do believe right before dark is true. But it feels like slicker are hard to figure out at green up. Yeah, that's because our dam just changes so much. Everything's just right now. Our river is still chocolate milk. It rained a week ago and we still are flooded.
Yep. I saw the Facebook post. There are new PBs coming out of Mendota. It seems like on the hour, every hour, somebody's getting a new PB channel cat. That is awesome.
25 that would beat my PB.
That's a monster.
I think my PB is 22 up at Sandusky Bay, even though I've got a 21.5 out of Rocky Fork, which is
my PB is like 4.
4?
It's like 4.
Yeah.
We ain't got them big ones around here, at least not that I know of anyway.
We get him in the rain. Yeah. We've just this last trip down, it was pouring down rain and we were just having a ball tearing them up. So, they're an opportunist feeder, just like any other species. They're going to take what they can get when they can get it. 21 pounds out of Rocky. I don't know if that's for Justin or if he was mocking mine, but 20. Yeah,
probably.
Well, Justin was with me. I believe that was my biggest, was 21 pounds. Justin and I fished a tournament out of there, and the first fish in the boat was 21-pound channel cat. We're like, we're off to a good start.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
We won the tournament. Oh, that's yours. It's 21. Mine's 21, some change too. Whatever's on that sheet from that, I believe that was that tournament.
That's my theory, is we got too many big blues and yellow cat for them channel cats to get. But now I'm sure there's some areas I can go off one of them fingers on the river. They may have some bigger ones back there. I just don't, I just don't go after them. That's all. I've never, even back in the day running nets and trot lines, we've never seen any real big ones, so I'm just going to go ahead and say we don't have them.
Pound for pound, they are hard to beat. That's for sure. Channel cat are fun. Target. Now, when I'm after, big blues or big flatheads and I catch a channel cat, it's kind of like, oh man, get off there. I don't want a channel cat, but when I target channel cat, they're the best thing in the world.
Yeah. Why not? Right.
Yeah. Man, we had a lot of good comments. There are a lot of people that really get excited about catching skipjack. If you've never caught skipjack, get out and get with somebody and get out and give it a try, or go to a dam. This is the time to go out there and give it a shot. And I'm telling you, if you ever luck into getting on a good skipjack bite, it's almost hard to stop and go catfishing.
Bring the kids with you.
Oh God, it's insane.
The kids have. Look, my nephew, I think he'd rather come slicker fishing with us than catfish. He loves it.
Yeah. Wife 23.68 on Paint Creek and 21 at the bay.
Wow.
Hey, there's War Pig, fat channel cats. What's up, Bill Hopper?
What's going on?
Bill Hopper, man, get your boat and head up to Sandusky Bay with us. We need a couple more boats to take these veterans out, man. Holler at me. 22. There you go. And Brad says 22.2 pound. Oh man, he's flirting with Stan now.
Yeah, he is.
If you haven't hit the thumbs up, please do so. Thank you, Stan. I always forget to throw that in there, but if you guys enjoyed yourselves tonight, please hit the thumbs up, and we'd like to hear from you. Steve Douglas has some good video on how to preserve skipjack. Oh, that's a great comment. I actually meant to touch on. I'm actually meant to touch on that. The salt water slurry is a huge. Oh I know who that is. Tyra says Cleat has a 27.5 at the bay.
Ooh, wow.
That's a tank.
Yeah. That is a big old channel.
And I'll get back to my slurry in a second, but in my opinion, I was going to say they are the exact same fish.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yeah. The exact same fish.
Same method, same rigs, same. I mean, the guys we see on YouTube that do catch them, they're doing exactly what we do to the letter.
Yep.
It's absolutely
yep.
It works.
So that was not a dumb question. Good question. So yeah, we like to do the salt slurry. We put the salt water in. Once we get everything in and get it just super duper cold, we pull the plug on the water and drain all the water out and leave the fish packed on ice. This goes for shad and skipjack and anything. Never, ever leave your plug in your cooler. Let that thing stay drained out the entire time. And keep your bait from getting mushy, soft, and whatnot. It'll stay cold. You ain't got to worry about it. That water does not make them colder. Once you've already got them down the temperature. So,
and I personally, I like to use the feed salt. It's a very, very fine salt. It's very cheap. You can get 30, 40 pound bag of it for like $15 at Tractor Supply. I keep it in a 5-gallon bucket in my shop. And a little something that I did recently, and I was very proud of myself for inventing a cool idea. I actually took a couple of cups of it and I vacuum sealed it in a vacuum seal bag. And I just keep it at the bottom of my ice chest at all times. That way, at any time when I start getting on some slicker enough to say, okay, we're going to put some up, my salt is always with me. It's not contaminated, nothing like that. I just cut open that bag, dump it in there. I'm good to go.
I have the same thing. I've got they're old 3-pound tubs of better bait. I always buy the better bait. When that better bait runs out, I fill those tubs up with just regular salt for bait. So I've got the same thing on my boat, a stockpile of salt. I know Zach does too. He uses a Folgers coffee tub, plastic with a lid. Eddie wants to know any thoughts on gold and moon eye. Great bait. Great bait. Anytime you can get it, it's great bait. It would be a whole nother show just talking about how to catch them. I like to catch them on a float. I like to use a spring float. I don't have one here. Spring float, 2 hooks, like a Kentucky rig, sinker on the bottom, and crickets or wax worms, basically, to catch them. They are a very finicky fish. They're super, in my opinion, they're hard to catch. I've never been great at them, but I love catching them. So.
Yep, exactly. A rock salt, feed salt, just wherever. I've always heard that you do not want to use the iodized salt that you get, like table salt. Let's say I've always heard it's not a good idea, and that's the very expensive route to go. I'll be honest with you. Rock salt is cheap. Feed salt is cheap.
Yeah,
it's
pool salt. I use pool salt.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, pool salt. Yeah.
Granulated pool salt works really, really well.
That's another good one.
The magic mixture is a cup per 10 gallons of water.
Okay.
And that's to keep them alive. Now, if you're just trying to just ice them down and flash freeze them, you double that. Yeah. So you could go 2 cups per 10 gallons of water. So what I do is I'll buy, a big bag of ice. I think they're 21 pounds for a bag in the cooler. And then I add my salt, which will usually be 2 cups and that size, maybe 3 cups. And then I start adding water until it's just kind of slushy. It don't have to be, you don't want a ton of water, but you want enough water to where you could submerge the fish under there. And then it kind of flash freezes them and gets them. It basically just stops everything, right? So as soon as you take a skipjack out of the water and a lot of fish, they start to decay immediately. Yeah, their intestines, their guts, and everything starts to turn. So I can't stand watching guys throw fish in a 5-gallon bucket for 2 hours and then they take it up to the truck. Like, that's ruined. You already ruined it.
That ain't no good.
It's not ruined. It's probably still usable to some people. That's not fresh to me.
It's not going to put up well. If you want to use it that day to go catch fish, okay. But to put up and preserve, when they'll look fine, they'll feel fine, but when you thaw them out a month later, mush, and they'll wash out in 5 minutes.
Yeah. So, so 1 or 2, depends on the size of cooler you're using.
Yeah.
I mean, the magic number for keeping fish. So this is like for shad. The magic number for keeping fish alive is 1 cup for 10 gallons of water. So if you're running like a bait tank and it's a 30-gallon bait tank, you can put 3 cups of salt in it without burning the fish up. On a cooler, you're using a lot, you're only using like 10 gallons of water. So you're only going to use, a couple cups of salt. And that's not going to be to keep the fish alive. That's going to be to super slow them down. I will tell you, I've had a lot of success. I will make that slurry up, 2 cups of salt. I don't know if I've used 3 cups of salt on a cooler size. Throw all my shad in it, and it like super freezes, it like slows them way, way, way down. And good enough for me to get clear back to my truck. I'm catching these out of spillway. Get clear back to my truck and throw them in a bait tank, and they will warm back up and come back to life in the bait tank. But if I try to just keep shad alive in a cooler to get back to my truck, on average, you can only keep a shad per gallon. So if you got a 30-gallon tank, you can keep 30 shad on average. If you got a cooler, you're talking 10, 12 gallons. Well, if you're going to try to keep them alive, you're talking about 10, 12 shad. Well, I'm talking about 50 shad, and adding all that salt. Not only does it help bring the temperature down, it adds oxygen to the water. Zach says right there, the salt.
See, Stan is actually answering a question that somebody asked in chat for us. But yeah, if somebody asked if there was any truth to putting them head down in the cooler, actually, if you're going to take the time to do that, Stan's got the answer right here. You put them edgeways back down.
Yep, put their belly up and their back down. I know a lot of people suggest that. We've tried doing that. I got to be honest with you. When you start catching skipjack as fast as you can, that goes out the window quick.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's all. We sometimes when you get into them so thick, the only thing you can do is put the ice chest in the middle of the boat, open, and people are throwing slicker from each end of the boat. Just it's literally raining slicker on whoever's in the middle of the boat, which is usually my youngest son, and he's laughing the whole time.
That's usually what will happen. One of us will be at the front of the boat, one of us be at the back of the boat, and we both have our own cooler.
Yeah.
Unless we have a big cooler, and then we're doing the same thing, throwing it.
Yeah, because usually I'm doing that with a 150 quart ice chest, and it's just raining slicker from all directions.
JG Hill, that all depends on if you're trying to preserve bait to freeze or if you're trying to keep bait alive.
Yep.
If you're trying to keep bait alive, that makes a huge difference. City water obviously has chlorine and all the chemicals in it. However, like Freddie says, G-Juice, Better Bait, and there's a lot of these other companies that will neutralize all those chemicals quickly. API Products also has a stress coat and water treatment to take all that chlorine out. As far as preserving fish to go home and freeze, it's not going to hurt anything. The water is just helping lower that temperature down to flash freeze these fish so that they preserve well.
Yep. If you put your hand in the slurry and try to stir it, and you got to pull your hand out after 3 seconds because you think it's going to fall off, then you're probably close to getting the mix right.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how salt will lower that temperature of that water down.
It literally hurts. That's why it's not a bad idea to keep a little paddle or something to kind of shove them down in there. Where you don't do that with your hands.
That's what Hagen Grubbs video he did. He uses the oar. He uses the paddle to stir his slurry because
that's what we
do.
To
put your hand in it.
That's what we do. Oh no, you ain't putting your hand in there and stirring them around. That ain't happening.
Then he says he's done the vacuum sealing and plastic wrap. He prefers the plastic wrap. If it's a short period of time, you can get away with that. That plastic wrap will seal and it'll keep oxygen off of them. I've done them both too. I've wrapped them in plastic when whether my sealer was down or I didn't have bags or something. I needed to freeze some bait, so it will work. You can use regular Ziploc bags and use a 5-gallon bucket. push it down in the water, and all the air will come out, and then zip it at the very end. It's not going to be the very best vacuum seal you get, but it's way closer than anything you can do with your hands.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah, it'll do a really good job at pushing all the air out of that bag for you.
Yep.
There's lots of ways to preserve and take care of your bait. We can do a show just on
exactly. That's
bait,
a whole other show right there.
Well, I mean, Chad and Lyle and them, they just did a show about transferring bait. They talked about different ways to, precautions and things like that, about that on Catfish Weekly. But there's lots of tricks. I love live bait. Zach and I are huge advocates for fresh bait or no bait. It's
Matt, if you're using it for cut bait, just ice is fine. You don't have to do the salt thing if you're just icing them down to cut them up later that day.
Right.
Now for live bait, you got to throw a little salt in, try to keep them alive. But if you're going to fish with them, even if you're catching them, let's say Saturday to fish Sunday, slicker keep great in just in ice as long as you keep the water off of them.
Yep.
Like a lot of times what I'll do, I'll pack them in ice, then I will leave my drain plug partially open on my ice chest to make sure that water's out of there and staying off of. But I actually prefer slicker that was caught 24 hours previous and been on ice for 24 hours than some that I caught right then and there and turn around and go fishing with them. I'd rather them be on ice for a little while. It's like the blood thickens a little bit.
I remember you talking about that.
I'd rather them. Yep.
Let me see. I don't think I can get signed in. There's some good comments here. Zach says if you're going to use a bait within 3 days, just ice with the drain open is good.
Yeah, just fine. Absolutely. And
that's about our average right there. About 3 days. After that, they'll start to get soft. You can still catch fish on them, but you're really starting to get into the softer side. And
if you catch them Friday, you can still use them Sunday.
Right. Yep. Let's see, salt water's high chlorine level. Let's see, Chad. Yeah, I did see Stan throw a great comment in there about making sure you check your regulations. It's different all over the country. We're talking about things that we've done here and Jeremy's done down there. But make sure you know your regulations. What's the saying go? Ignorance is not excuse for whatever. Plastic wrap. Hey, I seen Tanya Hollis says she uses the press and seal. That's okay. That's new or different, and I think that's actually be a pretty good idea, really.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, there you go. Danny says I've done the salt and ice mix with the drain plug, pulled on the cooler, 2-hour drive home, and they would be frozen solid in the cooler. Yeah, so that's how you've got your ice slurry mixture all taken care of.
Yep. And remember, the whole point of having a little bit of water in there is to dissolve your salt. That's number one. But if you have just a little water and it's slushy, when you throw those live slicker in there, their first instinct is to try to swim down, and they will literally swim down and hit the bottom of that ice chest. And when you drain that water, they are solid, packed in ice. They pack themselves essentially.
Yep. Yeah. Good questions, man. There's a lot of good questions. Somebody asked what kind of vacuum sealer. I think Zach uses a Food Saver brand, and I use I don't know, it was a highly recommended one on Amazon. It does a good job.
I want to say mine's a Cuisinart. I think the one mine has the different settings like soft vac, normal, wet, dry. I have like the different settings I can put on mine, which to me is important. I don't like I do mine on a soft vac because I find if I go a normal vac, it wants to start pulling the blood out of them. Like mine's too strong at a normal vac. I'll go soft.
Yeah, I think mine has wet or dry, and I always choose wet.
Yep.
Which is better, catching them on rod and reel or a cast net? They're hard to catch with a cast net. People do catch them if they get so thick. You can catch them with a cast net. Yep. People do catch them with a cast net. but you're pretty much rod and reel only on skipjack. You can catch.
It's rare.
Yeah. I'm not saying you can't catch them with a cast net, but you're this is a rod and reel.
Yeah, it's hard to do. I've done it. I don't know, maybe 2-3 times, and had catch 3 or 4. It's not easy.
Mine has a wet back setting. Got it.
Yeah.
Stan says he's had good luck for about a week by storing gizzard shad in plain salt in a Ziploc bag in the fridge. Pulled them out a week later, and they were extremely fresh. Those guys deal with those big James River gizzard shad.
Yep.
So if you're talking about 12, 15-inch gizzard shad, they probably will save pretty well for you. You're dealing with like average 6 to 9-inch, 6 to 8-inch gizzard shad, like most of our shad are around here. I don't think you get away with that.
Yeah.
Warpick says dry them off before vacuum sealing helps a lot. It really does. It helps when it goes to make that seal. We find that we usually double seal ours. We'll run the vacuum seal, and then it'll seal itself. Then we'll pop the thing up, and then we'll seal it again to make sure that seal is good, because it does draw some moisture out, and it kind of causes some things to.
Yep, and keep in mind too, with most vacuum sealers,
catch them using a net.
Yeah. Keep in mind with most vacuum sealers too, because I'll run into that with mine every now and then. If you're really going fast and sealing bags one after the other, you can overheat your vacuum sealer, and it'll actually melt the end of that plastic bag, and it won't seal anymore. You kind of have to be aware and give it a little time between sealings. That way you don't overheat it.
Yeah, Christina has a great comment. Not only they're talking about not buying cheap vacuum sealers, but also pay attention to the reviews on the bags.
Yeah.
Zach and I found out I had a bunch of bags here. I don't know if they came with something or what, but these things were like huge, deep, like pleated bags that you could store like, I don't know what all in there. And they did not want to vacuum seal and stay sealed at all. I don't know where I got the bags from or what happened, but those bags were terrible. And you go through all that time of catching your bait and preparing it and caring for it and everything else. Last thing you want to do is just kind of half-ass the freezing or bagging process. Open up your freezer, and all of them are freezer burnt and ruined because you missed the last part. World King bags are horrible. That's good to know. I've never bought them there, but that's good to know.
Yeah, it is.
I do. I usually buy them off Amazon. I buy, great big rolls of it. I do the same thing. I watch for, whatever the reviews are. Catfish Clothing in house. We both dropping.
Yeah, we both representing today. So I'm talking about.
What's up, buddy? Good job, you guys, this week on the challenge. Holy cow!
Oh yeah,
you guys are having a ball. That's the thing. Have fun. These guys, everybody was just having fun.
That's it.
Get my bags on a roll from Amazon, large rolls. Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Large rolls. I just look for good reviews. Pretty much comes to anything. There's lots of things you can go cheap with, and there are just some things you just shouldn't go cheap with. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to spend this much time chasing the bait, catching the bait, putting the bait in, packing it clear to the house, and doing all that, do yourself a favor, get a decent vacuum sealer and spend the money on the good bags, and put all that work and effort to good use. And otherwise, you end up just not doing it anymore, right? You'll be like, I'm tired of doing this. Every time I open it up, my bait ain't no good anyway. Well,
exactly.
That's all we do. Life's supposed to be fun, just like fishing. That's what I'm talking about, Chris. We're talking about putting the F back in fishing, and that stands for fun.
Yeah, buddy.
Zach doesn't even know what bags they are. His wife orders them for us.
Yeah, the ones I get, they're I buy them like in a big. I buy them 100 at a time. They're basically pre-made 11 by 17 bags, and the biggest reason I get them is I only have to seal one end. I don't have to cut and seal both ends. It's a little easier on my vacuum sealer because sometimes we're vacuum sealing out in the shop and it's 100 degrees. It does cut down on some of that time and some of that heat.
Also, yeah, Danny, I've seen that trick. People talk about trimming the tails off, just kind of be how much space it saves. But
I've had to do it. Yep.
we end up cutting our bags, and we always end up going just a little too, a little long, just to make sure, because it's way better to be an inch or two, have an inch or two extra than end up with an inch or two, too short. And
You're killing me.
You don't want to come up short.
No, you do not.
No, because then it's sticking out, poking out the end, and you got to get a different bag. And
yeah, no.
I'm trying to find something to talk about. Bex and I had a blast. Did an amazing job. 6 hours flew by, having so much fun. Yeah, never had.
And here we go.
Yeah.
At least we waited till the end.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Okay, here we go. Yeah.
Seems like we're vacuum sealing bags at 2 a.m. That's true. We usually, I don't know how it always works out that way, but that is the normal time for us to be vacuum sealing fish.
I didn't say anything.
I'm trying.
I didn't say anything.
JG Hill, which rig are you interested in? You talking about the the spoon?
Probably the Foley spoon rig.
The Foley spoon
Probably
rig.
that one.
All right, so I'll set it up with what I would most likely be throwing, which right now is a half ounce.
Yep.
And I don't normally use a colored mono right now. Just what I had laying here, and I thought it would be easy for you guys to see. So what I'm using here is a half sinker. All right, so it swivels on the top and the bottom. And the reason that's important is because I come down here, I got the clip, I tie a loop knot here, and I come all the way down to my Foley spoon. All right, and I've got it tied directly on with an improved clinch knot is usually what I use right there, or sometimes I'll just use a Palomar knot. But what happens is this spoon's going through the water and it is twisting, right? It's like it turns into like a propeller. It has an erratic action. If you watch these things, they'll kind of go this way and then they'll cut back this way. They're very erratic. But without a swiveling sinker here or a swivel of some sort, and your line will begin to twist up. And when you bring it in, you'll just continue to fight it over time, over period of casting. You end up having to work the kinks back out of this line over and over again. Where these trolling sinkers that have the swivels in them, they prevent most of that, not all of it, but they'll prevent most of that and keep your bait in the water longer and keep you fishing and catching more fish, hopefully.
Yep.
Stan could talk about himself for hours. Well, it depends on.
He used to be shy once upon a time. That was a while back, but
Robert says Roger's been 3 inches short. Man, if I had $1 for every time I come up 3 inches short, just this year.
Yeah, I know, right?
He didn't snip the 2 inches at birth.
I'm not highlighting any more comments tonight. I'm not. It's too dangerous. Too dangerous.
Girth matters.
That's one of the ones I wasn't going to highlight.
We've lost the show.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, we do need to get this thing wrapped up because, like as we talked earlier, we have some folks that need to come on. We're going to talk after the show here. Mm-hmm. We're going to try to get you guys set up with the final installment of the Ladies Call Out Challenge. So be on the lookout for that. For me here, Catfishing for Kids. Date is set June 10th, June 11th. If you got kids out there that would be interested in coming on and fishing with us, please get a hold of me. If anybody's interested in helping sponsor or support the kids tournament this year with prizes, we have a lot of fun with it. And so please get a hold of me as soon as possible.
Yep.
Hey, Telly, Hooks and Hammocks. She's sliding in at the end, but we appreciate your support nonetheless. And then last thing, Disabled Veterans Outdoors organization. If any of my local guys here close to Ohio would like to join us in going up to Sandusky Bay and getting on a fantastic event, take disabled veterans out, please contact me and I'll put you in contact with the folks you need to get signed up with and go from there. For everyone else, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. It has been another fantastic Tuesday night. A lot of great questions. I love the interaction tonight with everybody. And we'll hang tight back there. Anybody else that was scheduled to pop up here and talk to with us about the reschedule, come on in. We'll leave the light on for you. For everyone else, we'll see you here next Tuesday night. Same cat time, same cat channel. Good night, everybody.
Bon appreciate everybody.